Hello everybody. Get back over here. Okay, so okay. Guess I didn't grab a towel. Let's see. So tonight I'm going to do just a quick little heat set to show you how to heat set stuff after you ink it. Last night we inked two things. I did a little koozie on one side. So I'm going to heat set that just to protect it in case it were to get wet. Likely it's not going to come off, but it just guarantees that it's not going to. And then my little hand towel, which dried overnight. So it gets not wet at all. And you can kind of see, I don't know how well you can see the detail on it. And I'm going to use, make sure I've got it on the right page. So I'm going to go ahead. I already got my Cricut Easy Press going. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pick up my crafting mat because the heat from the Easy Press, even an iron, will like start to warp it. I've learned that one the hard way. Oops, forgot to close that. So I'm just going to remove it off to the side while I do this, and I'll put it back up and use it again. Okay. And I'm going to use, this is pretty much what I have. When I heat set it, you can put like an ironing board under it. I just usually at least have some kind of towel underneath it. And as you can see, I've already got it plugged in. So you can do it with an iron, which is like 4 minutes on each side. Oh, which reminds me, I need my parchment paper. Can't believe I forgot that. Sorry. Oh, sorry. So I put parchment paper in between the iron and this just to kind of protect it. But I'm sure to take out this piece is big enough. The design I did. And of course the parchment paper can be used over and over and over again. And it's still not bringing it up in the video. There. Well, no, that was the one from last night. Okay. Well, if there's any questions, I'll catch them as soon as I get that. But it's just 30 seconds on 350. So honestly, all I do is put that down. My iron's way bigger. But if you have a Cricut Easy Press, essentially it's a huge iron. But they come in different sizes. So I'm just going to hit the little start. And it counts down to 30 seconds for me. And it'll beep when it's done. I usually wiggle it around just because I get bored and I can't sit still. Let's do that. Ah, finally it shows it. Okay. 9 seconds to go. And honestly, I can just let it sit there and not have to move it at all. Okay, so, and it beeps. So then I just pick it up, put it back on my little stand. You can see the heat coming off of it. Nice little heat. And then it's essentially it's permanently set. It's nice and smooth right into the fabric, so you can't even feel it. You know, like with Cricut and vinyl and stuff, you can feel the outside of it. This is as if it was printed right on there. Because essentially it's soaked in and just like it was printed on there. But still cool down here. So this took up all the heat. Now, oops. So you got Lucy behind me hanging out. So for this one, I just want to do the one little part where I got the design on it, which was the B size, which is basically an 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to make sure that it's underneath it, so it's not directly on the table. And again, you could just take a towel and fold it up. Now I'm going to do it because because this other one was a koozie. So where did it go? So it's not like I guess I could flip the koozie inside out and do it, but there's really no sense in it. This one I am going to do both sides though. So I'm going to do the fresh ink side and the back side with parchment paper in between the design and the iron. And I do have an ironing pad. I'm just not sure where it is. I really need to clean up my crafting. You can't see the rest of the room, which is a good thing. All right, so got my little parchment paper down here. And then again, this is a 9 by 9, so it pretty much covers it. not completely, so you have two options. You can either move it around back and forth, which is what I'm going to do, or you can do like 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other side of the design. I'm just doing it. It's a hand towel. If it was a t-shirt, I'd probably be a little bit more strict with myself, but this is going in my kitchen. So it's going to have dirty hands on it and soapy hands. Ooh. So you can see the steam coming off. Woohoo. And really you don't get anything on the parchment paper. If I hadn't let this dry, I noticed that some of the ink does come on the parchment paper, but you can see it looks like a nice design. And of course, because it's an iron, it smoothed it out nicely as well. Alright, so I'm going to put this down here, and I'm just going to do the back side. Same kind of thing. Push my little Cricut button. 30 seconds on both sides. If you don't have a Cricut Easy Press, you don't have to have a Cricut Easy Press. If you're doing lots of these, it's just easier because essentially just set it down for 30 seconds and it's good to go. It beeps for you. And you set the temperature. Otherwise, you use just like a regular iron, just like this. But you got to go back and forth with the iron on the design for 4 minutes on each side. To heat set it to make it permanent. Could be towels, t-shirts, sweatshirts, bags. Oh, and the 30 seconds is already done. And I'm going to shut that off because I see heat set the two things from last night. And right out the way. So, got my nice little kitchen towel. And I was going to do a t-shirt tonight in the same design, but I'm going to hold off on doing that until tomorrow night. Just because I hadn't dug out all my t-shirts yet that I have. I have a whole bunch of plain t-shirts and sweatshirts and even some tank tops and stuff. So I'm going to look through them. And if you're watching, I want to see if you like this design, make you like a little summer shirt. Because I think it's a cool design for a shirt. Alright. I'm going to sign off. And I did clean my transfers last night. You guys didn't see it because I forgot when I shut off my live. But as you can see, remember how dirty the transfer was when I was doing it? You know, it was covered in all different colors of ink. So I had it sit in the bucket. As soon as I turned the live off, I cleaned it. And as you can see, it's barely stained with any ink. Even though I did use, so maybe there's a little touch of green around the edge, including, you know, and I washed both sides, including the back side, which is sticky again, so that I can reuse it over and over again. Someone asked, so I realized I hadn't said, because they're reusable silk screen transfers, usually you can use them 8 to 12 times. There's some that I have used around 30 times. So as long as you take care of them and clean them, they're going to be good. Don't leave them sitting in water. It'll take the stickiness away. Make sure that when you clean it, especially if you got little small detailed areas, that you are actually cleaning the ink and the paste out of it. Otherwise, when next time you go to use it, if you've got a little bit stuck in that silk screen mesh and you didn't see it, it's going to inhibit your design next time until you clean it off. So if you've used something and it looks a little dirty, the next time you go to use it, just double check it that it's completely clean. And one of the things I do is hold it up to the light to see if I can see through the mesh area without any coloring from the chalk paste ink. You know what? I could just do chalk paste tonight. Hi! Yeah, and like even the green barely stained the edge of this. So it only took me like, I don't know, 6 minutes to heat set these. So I'm going to see if I can grab a surface to do. So this is a canvas. Just a regular canvas like, you can get them at Dollar Tree and stuff. Just a regular canvas like this. What I did is I spray painted it black to make it look more like a chalkboard. And I'm actually going to go ahead and do this one. I'll do this right on here. And I'll grab out my ink so you can see all my supplies. The only thing about the stretch canvases is they've got this little gap here. So sometimes when you're doing them, you might want to put a little box or something underneath just to give you a good brace so you're not like pushing down in it. Completely up to you. I prefer to do that, but that might just be me. As for my paste, these are all my different colors. It's a lemonade one, so could really do it in any color I want. I love my pistachio. They don't make pistachio anymore. So where is, you know what? Anybody have any preference for colors? Shout them out. You know, I have quite a bit. I did pink lemonade on the little thing there. But I think I'll just do a regular yellow. So I've got my bumblebee yellow again. This time it's in paste instead of ink. And then actually I've got shimmer spruce, which is the green, but it's, and all the shimmers are glittery, which I really like. And then I'm going to grab out some white. And I really like my pistachio, but I'm going to save that one for later. I need to find something better to put my chocolate in. I can just kind of see it all in front of me. All right. So I might just, well, I don't know if I'll do any of the green at all. I think I'm going to just pretty much stick with yellow and white since I've got more time tonight. Yellow and my white. And honestly, I'm going to do what's called messy. I'm going to take my stir sticks, one for each color, and I'm going to put dabs on it and mix it all around. So it's going to have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, and then after that, I'll decide if I want to put any green into it. I might just stick with yellow and white. So I'm just going to go ahead and stir up my paste. That one looks like it's a little... This paste, this white one seemed like it was a little bit dry. Some of my jars I've had a year. So, just going to give that a little extra time to sit. All I do is add a little distilled bottled water to it. And it just, it's chalk. So chalk never goes bad, but it does dry out occasionally. Go ahead and stir. So you can see my bumblebee is like perfect texture. It's super creamy, like Cool Whip, basically. So I've got that all ready to go, and I'm going to double check the white again. I just like it to be perfectly creamy before I start. The old paste formula, you had to add, more often you had to add a little bit of water to it, but the new paste formula, like the bumblebee, you don't have to. It's almost always perfect. They call it creamy dreamy because it's perfectly creamy. Okay, so pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just putting gobs of white and yellow all around. And then I'm going to use my squeegee to spread it. The yellow is going to overpower the white, so I want to make sure I have plenty of white on it. And I'm not going to put as much as you see me putting on white. I'm not going to put that much yellow on. Right. And I likely am going to need to add more afterwards. So with the yellow, I'm going to put little dabs here and there. As you can see, much smaller. Because a little of the yellow is going to go a really long way. Right, so before I put any more on, I'm just going to start squeegeeing it. There's different ways you can do it. You can use your fingers and spread it around like fingerprint, essentially. You can also use the squeegee to move it around. You can do a combination of both. I'm going to use the squeegee to spread it around first. And as I come up with globs and stuff of it, I'm just moving that glob around. So I'm going to start here. Let's see, I'm just kind of like going back and forth, giving it a little bit, even of a little bit of maybe a tie-dye kind of feel to it, and then scraping it across to fill in all the other areas that didn't get initially hit. All the little gaps. So as you can see, it's coming into like a little bit lighter color of yellow. Some areas are going to be a darker yellow, some will be lighter, depending on, you know, where I had placed the paste originally in this, where this hits it. So I'm just going to go the different areas, try to scoop up and spread around as much as I can. That's what I'm doing. I'm just keep scraping all the excess off. And see, when I went over the edge, but because it's paste, I'm just going to wipe it off afterwards. So with ink, if you go over the edge, you're like, uh-oh, got to clean it off really fast. But with paste, you just erase it. It's super forgiving. Hi, Lucy. I hear you crying. Why are you crying? If you see a gray cat in the background, that's Alice. And I think I have to make her appoint at the vet because I think she injured her tail. She's kind of been favoring it. So I Googled, can cats break their tail? I don't think she's broken it because she's moving it around, but I think she definitely injured it. So she'll be going to the vet this week. I've never had a cat injure their tail before. Apparently they can live without the tail. Alright, so as I'm going around, I'm just looking to see if I missed any areas. And I'm going to put a little extra dab of yellow here. And I'm going to add a little bit more white, just because I need more to spread it around. Right. Let's see if I can get this last bottom section, and then I will pull it up. And then I'll show you guys how to clean the transfers while I've got this one out. And because I mixed the colors, I'm not putting the excess paste I have back in any jars. I'm just going to look over and see if there's any. Okay, so I have just a little tiny bit left on my thing. As I pull it up, I'm going to watch to see that I didn't miss any areas. And looks good. All right, so show you guys how I clean this after. Right, and I have that one little spot there that got wet, or that I went over the edge of the transfer, but so this little blob at the top that I went over the edge, I'm going to go ahead and fix that. I'll show you how to fix it. Right, so I realized I left my Clorox wipes open last night, so just the top one that I had sticking out. It's not that great, but the other ones seem to be fine. So I'm just going to take my little Clorox wipe and clean up the area that I made a mistake on. Now you can see that it looks wet, but once it dries, it's going to look just like the whole other areas. Okay, so you see I've got dark yellow, white, and then where it mixed together, it comes into a more pastel yellow. Oops. No, this way. Can't see where the camera is. Okay. So just in the back, the black background makes it stand out a little bit. So I made essentially one, because I already had the transfer and I used it for something else. I already had the paste, so I pretty much just paid $1 for the frame at the Dollar Tree before they raised the prices to $1.25. So we've got this, just a cute little lemonade stand. And then I'll set it to dry. Usually within 30 minutes, it's dry to the touch. I once told somebody that it was, you know, you rub your hands on it and it doesn't come off, which is true. However, they took their fingernails and dug into it, which of course took it out. Okay, so to clean the transfers, I'll put my squeegee in this. So I clean everything. First I'll put my paste together and back. Okay. Okay, I'll show you how I do these. So I spray down the transfer if I'm not using a bucket. If I'm using a bucket, then I just take it out and wipe it off. For these, including my stir sticks and my squeegee, I put a whole bunch of water on it and I let it sit there for about 20-30 seconds. I'm just going to go grab my little eraser thing. And of course, last night when I cleaned out my water bucket because it was dirty, I found a bonus squeegee in the bottom. I ended up cleaning that out in the bathroom. Okay, so usually just take a wipe and wipe off the stir sticks and the squeegee. If I'm doing this at the sink, I'm only not doing it at the sink because I'm on a live. I just wipe them off and just set them out here to dry. Otherwise, I pretty much just in the bathroom just run it underwater with my fingers to take the paste or ink off. It's that easy. So this. And these are silicone, so they wipe off very easily. Most people are familiar with silicone now. Okay, so for this, it's just got water sitting on top of it. Usually I'll take, and if I have any towels or Clorox wipes, and wipe off the bulk of it just because it's so thick before I use my eraser. As you can see, I'm just wiping off a whole bunch of paste, and I'll show you the bottom of it after. So, see, I just wiped it up a bit. And then before I use my eraser, which is, this is a dirty one, but essentially it's like the magic eraser. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more fresh water. And it doesn't have to be any special water. Tap water is perfectly fine. And I'm just going to go ahead and wipe it off. As you can see, it's clearing it up. It's pushing any excess through the silk screen as well. So in addition to cleaning it here, I'm going to flip it over and do the other side as well. But I always do the non-sticky side first because I let it dry sticky side up. Okay, so we've got that. And sometimes, yes, you can kind of see an outline of what the image was that I just cleaned up. And the only reason that it has chalk paste on the back is because I pushed it through when I was cleaning it. So today we learned how to heat set chalk and clean transfers. Now, if you have pets, you may notice cat hair or dog hair that ends up getting in your transfer. If you use any of the glitter paste, then you'll notice that glitter gets on it as well. What you want to make sure is clear is the silk screen area. Doesn't matter if the other areas get stained. You know, if you have animals, then you know how to deal with that. Let's see, make sure. So now, since this has lots of little detailed areas, I usually just hold it up to the light, especially when I'm using paste. Just to make sure I can see through all the little small detail areas that it is clean. So this is clean. So I'll leave it out. And within an hour, half hour to an hour, it's dry and it can put it back on the backer again. So this was tonight's project. That was a surprise because I just had tons of time to do it. But I'm still only like just over 20 minutes. So you saw me heat set 2 things, chalk this, and then clean everything. So we learned some different stuff tonight. Tomorrow I will be doing a t-shirt. I may or may not doing, yes. Tomorrow I'm definitely doing a t-shirt. I've just got to dig them out. So if you have any requests for color of t-shirt or color of ink to use, feel free to post them and I'll see what I can do. But I'm going to sign off now and pick up my mess. Okay? Right? Night, guys. I hear you, Lucy. Say goodbye.